Vlog chapter 312 recently came out and we finally have begun the U20 World Cup after what feels like about 20 years of back-to-back Nagi chapters.
Oh my god, bro.
Oh, hell no.
I've been scrolling through social media to see people's reactions and thoughts on this chapter, and there is one thing that really stood out to me. Many people don't like the starting lineup and formation for Japan's first game against Nigeria. The game hasn't even kicked off yet, and we're already getting the ego does not know ball or ego has zero ball knowledge comments from many fans. Since so many people disagree with Ego's lineup, I've decided to take up the strenuous and laborious task of creating my perfect lineup for Japan versus Nigeria. With this being said, let's get into the video. First off, we're gonna completely change up Ego's 5-3-2 formation to a 4-3-3. I think this formation allows for more players to be utilized in the best possible way. So we're gonna start off pretty light with our goalkeeper, and there is no other option besides Gen Fukaku. At the end of the day, even though Gagamaru is by far a superior goalkeeper in literally every aspect, Fukaku has experience, so that's all that matters. I'm obviously joking, Gagamaru is literally the only answer for this position. I can bet my life savings that Fukaku is not touching that field for the entire U20 World Cup. We then go on to our centre-backs, and this is where things begin to change. As our first centre-back, we have Oliver Aiku. This one is pretty self-explanatory. If there is any player who starts for every game in this U20 World Cup, it would be Oliver Aiku. He's our captain, most experienced on the field, and overall a great player to have on defense since he has both metavision and physicality. So far, this formation is just a copy of Ego's, but things get different as we move on to our second centre-back. And instead of Nico, I decided that Ryu was a better fit for this game. From looking at the Nigerian players introduced in the manga and also taking into consideration real-life players, these are the two main styles of play that I think Nigeria will have: physicality and dribbling. I mean, in the one panel we got of the Nigeria team, we see two giants towering behind Onazi, and anyone who has played pickup football on a regular basis can tell that as long as the ball gets to this guy's boot, it's not leaving it because he's so good at dribbling. I'm probably reaching and jumping to conclusions, but getting back to the point, I think Ryu's skill sets will be a lot more useful than Nico's in this game. Ryu is tall, has good jumping ability and long limbs, which is honestly just perfect for keeping strong, tall physical attackers at bay, especially in aerial duels. Now, some people may bring up the argument that Nico was grinding the gym throughout his post-NEL training arc, so he must have gotten stronger. But just remember that this training arc was about 2 weeks from what I remember. That is not a lot of time to build muscle and physicality, unless Ego had some crazy science-based lifting schedule for Nico. Not in any way am I trying to hate or downplay Nico, but I think for this game especially, Ryu is a better fit. Moving on, we have our wingbacks. Just to go off topic for a bit, for anyone who doesn't know the difference between a fullback and a wingback, to make it as simple as possible, fullbacks play more defensively while wingbacks are included in the offense a lot more and are kinda like a mixture of a winger and a fullback. With that being said, in the left wingback position, Ego had Hiyori, but for my formation, I think Shigiri is a better fit. In his left wingback role, Shigiri will have freedom to use his speed to run up and down the flanks, provide chances in the attack, and most importantly, use his 44 Panther snipe. Ego had Shigiri as a right wingback, which I, as well as many other Blue Lock fans, were confused about because it basically nullified the entire Neo-Egoist League development as a left winger and made it a lot harder for him to use his Panther snipe on his right foot. With this being said, although it may look like a stupid decision from Ego, I do think he has a plan and we kinda just have to wait and see what happens. I also want to point out that I think Shigiri will be doing the most running on the field, and the 2 weeks of swimming that he did as training before the U20 World Cup would help a lot with keeping his stamina for running and also avoiding injuries. We go to our right wing back position and we have Hiyori. So basically Hiyori and Shigiri just switch positions, but Hiyori will have a much different role than Shigiri. Hiyori is a right-footed player playing on the right flank. This means that he won't be able to cut in and create chances like he could on the left. Because of this, I think it's best that Hiyori should play as an inverted wingback instead of just being a traditional wingback. For anyone who doesn't know what this is, an inverted wingback is a wingback that instead of playing out on the flanks, they tuck inside and move to the midfield when their team is in possession. Hello everyone, just to pause the video for a minute, whilst editing I realized that Hiyori's dominant foot is his left and not his right like I stated earlier. Even with this change, Hiyori's role that I had planned out for him will stay the same. With that being said, let's get back into our tactical analysis. I think this role is perfect for Hiyori. With his metavision, he can provide defensively on the flanks when Japan is not in possession, and when Japan is in possession, he can go up to the midfield spot to provide an overload and even more freedom in the midfield for Japan. Also, another positive is that Hiyori has experience playing as a right wing back on Boston Munshin during the NEL. Now we move on to our midfielders. I'm not going to spend too long on this one because there's only a couple stuff that I changed up. I decided to go for a double pivot with two defensive midfielders instead of just one because I think that will help with keeping a more stable and defensive midfield. As our central defensive midfielders, we have Karasu and Ryo. Picking Karasu is obviously a no-brainer because he's just that guy. Karasu's role as a player would be a lot more restricted to the midfield. He will still have freedom at times to run up with the ball, but not as much as our other CDM, Ryo, who will have a lot of freedom. For sure, Ryo's best use is in the midfield because of how versatile he is, so I will definitely applaud Ego for that pick. When Japan has possession, Ryo will move up a bit out of his CDM spot and into a more central midfield position. That way, he can assist a lot more in build-up play and in creating chances. In our center mid position, we have Bachira. This one didn't really change at all because I think Ego was spot on with this decision. When Japan is on the attack, Bachira will sort of play a central attacking midfield role, and when they are on the defense, he will move back to his regular center mid position. My goal of this midfield, including Iori when Japan are in possession, was to provide balance and creativity. Karasu can provide the defensive excellence and analytical skills, Iori can contribute to the control of the midfield, fluid play, and create more chances, but Shiro will bring forth a whole new world of creativity, and Ryo is honestly just all of the above. Now we move on to the spiciest part of the video, our forwards. We had some major changes to this with the addition of one player instead of the two up front that Ego had in his lineup. This means that we will have a left and right winger as well as a striker. In our left winger position, we have Itoshi Rin. Rin without a doubt needs to be a starting forward for this lineup. He's an amazing player and can provide so much to a team when he's actually thinking straight or not pulling off domain expansions in the middle of a match. With his right foot as his dominant, he can cut in from the left, whip crosses, and shoot at goal with his crazy accurate finisher. We then move on to our right wing position, and for this match, Isagi should play that role. This might seem absurd because he's not the striker, but I think right now in this formation, Isagi fits the right wing. I mean, he already has experience playing on the right flanks in Boston Shin since he played as a right midfielder. Isagi's role would be sort of similar to Iori. He will be playing as an inverted winger since he's right-footed. This means Isagi won't be the type of winger to send in crosses, but rather the type to play a bit more central in the field and link up with players. Now we go on to our striker position, and this one may be very controversial. I think for this game, Shido should be our starting striker. I know many people will be opposed to this pick, but hear me out for a moment. There is one thing I was thinking about when I was deciding the striker spot between Baro and Shido. That factor was how well they would be able to mesh with Isagi and Rin. The thing is, I strongly believe that starting Baro, Isagi and Rin will cause a clash in playstyles. We already have Isagi and Rin playing together, which I'm quite interested to see how that pans out, but having Baro in the equation just makes it even more confusing. I actually think that Baro and Isagi may kinda work as shown in the U20 World Cup, but with Rin and his destroyer mode in the mix, it just makes two guys trying to destroy Isagi, and I honestly don't know how this will work. I think for the first game, it would be better to have Shido start instead of Baro because at least Shido and Rin have played together and actually kind of worked with each other in PXG, so there would be some sort of chemistry. I think just to be safe, it would be better to start off the game with Shido, and probably later in the game, if things are going great against Nigeria, Baro would get subbed in for Shido to test how he mixes with Isagi and Rin. So this is the formation that we have. In our goalkeeper position, we have Gagamaru. Our two centre-backs are IQ and Aryu. In our wing-back positions, on the left we have Shigiri and on the right we have Hiyori. In our center defensive midfield, we have Ryo and Karasu. In our center midfield position, we have Bachira. On the wings, we have Rin on the left and Isagi on the right. And in the striker position, we have Shido. This is my entire formation and lineup compared to Ego's. Let me know if y'all think there are any changes that can be made to make it better. Also, let me know about your perfect lineup for the U20 World Cup or anything crazy that you'd want to see happen in this tournament in the comment section down below. With that being said, this comes to the end of the video. If y'all enjoyed it, be sure to like and subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see y'all in the next one.